Hi everyone! Sorry I'm an hour late from our usual Facebook Live about VA tasks. I just finished a meeting with my client from London. Today I'm going to talk about the task called lead generation. The skills that you need to be able to provide lead generation services is you have to be able to, first of all, have a very good comprehension so that you understand what the specifications are, what your client is looking for. Number two is that you have very good research skills. So first of all, what is lead generation? Basically, lead is like potential client for a business. A lead is someone that they could potentially sell their services to. So if your client is a life coach, then that life coach might be targeting certain kinds of people that they want to offer their coaching services to. For example, they want to target successful female. One of our clients from the UK, her target clients are successful female executives, female in the STEM or science and technology, engineering and math industry. So that's her target client, and she that could potentially be leads for her. So the more leads she has, the more people she could offer her services to, then the more chances of her getting more clients and more work for her business. So businesses would usually ask someone else to do lead generation because it's basically just research, but you have to make sure that when you are accepting this kind of work, that you understand the specifications very clearly. So for example, this is something that I have outsourced myself. So I have to indicate or specify what kind of businesses or people I am targeting. So there was one time I said, okay, I want you to find me all the businesses, whether it's a dental clinic, a restaurant, a law firm, or an accounting firm, any kind of business that is in this area, this suburb in New South Wales in Australia. I need you to find me the contact person for that business. Okay, I need a name, I need a telephone number, I need an email address, I need the position of that person, and also the website. Okay, some would ask, for example, they can say, oh, what services do they offer? Also, that's one thing. What services do they offer? So what you have to do as the lead generation VA is to go online, use Google, and look for these businesses or whatever the specification is within the set area or geographic area that you're told to research, or the kind of profile. Okay, so sometimes you can ask more questions like, if it's a person, do you need me to go to LinkedIn and get this person's LinkedIn profile? So it can vary based on what your client is looking for. So very important to get the specification so that when you do your research, you know what information you have to put in a spreadsheet. You know what information you have to do. Because if you don't know that and you've done the report, you've generated like 200 contacts. Okay, you've generated 200 leads. So one lead has the name of the company, the name of the person, the email address, the telephone number, the position, the services, and things like that. So that's one lead. If you've done 200 leads and then you submit that to your client and the client says, this is not enough, I also wanted you to look into, for example, their annual revenue. So now you have to go back to zero, go back to all those 200 entries. So that's a waste of time. Even though, especially if you're not charged, if you don't charge by the hour. If it's a package, then you have to double your work and it's the same fee. So very important to know, be clear with what information, that your client wants you to collect before you get started with your research. If it's not clear with you, you have to clarify because you will regret it if you don't clarify it. Okay, and then next one is so you have to understand the specifications, be clear about it, have it written down, and then send the specification to your client and ask your client to confirm. In my understanding, this is what I'm going to look for, blah, 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 and then say please confirm, and then wait for your client to confirm it to you so that it's clear. Okay, this is everything that I need. Ivy, thanks for joining. Maybe you can hear Ada again in the background. So okay, so understand the specifications and make sure that it's agreed with you and your client so that you don't, you know, waste time doing the work. Okay, and that the client doesn't get upset with you, because if the client is expecting that at a certain deadline and what you give your client is not complete or isn't correct, then it's a turn off, it's a disappointment. So make sure to be clear on the specifications, when it's needed, what information are needed, what are the parameters that you need to operate on. Okay, next thing is research. So sometimes you can get everything via Google. Sometimes you need to go to LinkedIn to find people in certain positions, and sometimes you have to go on Facebook, on a person's a business Facebook page, so that you know what the contact numbers are and things like that. So you have to be very resourceful in finding information. Okay, so you might also want to mention that to your client in the beginning, saying that I'm going to utilize these sites to do the research. Okay, if there are specific websites that they want you to use, then they have to let you know. For example, if they're looking for a horticultural industry in Australia, for example, they want you to find out who are all the grape farmers in Victoria, Australia. So instead of just relying on Google, maybe your source would want you to use a certain website where these growers are a member of, like an industry membership. So check that too. All right, what does your client expect you to use to do the research? Do you need to call people? If you need to call people, who's going to pay for the telephone charges? Because usually you can call them on Facebook, but sometimes it's only a landline, so you have to call them. And who's going to spend for that? Okay, so that's that. And then it's also very important to be attentive to detail. So if you're being asked to give certain information, make sure that you don't put the details in the wrong place. You know what I mean? So for example, if they're asking for a name of a person and then you put the address there, that's like an annoyance. All right, so make sure you're attentive to the detail, and it's a matter of just copying and pasting the information anyway. So just pay attention to what you're doing. This can get boring a bit, but just keep in mind that, hi Lai! Oy, coach ang tawag niya sa akin. Thank you. Magandang gabi na sa inyong lahat. Okay, so lead generation, yeah, that's that. Na-distract ako, sorry. So attention to detail, very important. Even if it's copy-paste, make sure that you do this while you're awake and you're not sleepy. Okay, because any work that has to be repeated means wasted time, wasted energy, and worse, it could be disappointed for the client. So just just make sure that when you're doing this, you're in full attention of what you're doing, that the specifications are clear to you, and that you're entering the right thing in the right place, whether it's a spreadsheet or an online form that you need to where you need to feed all the information to. Just make sure that you're doing them right. Okay, it does not hurt to double check. Actually, you should always double check. What's the name? What's the company name? Okay, so make sure that you always cross-reference before you close that source. Okay, that's one. And attentive to detail, and then the format in which you will submit the lead generation results. So does your client want you to share it as a Google Sheet, or does the client want you to send it as an Excel via email? So clarify that with them. Or do they want you to send it how how your client wants you to receive the report and when. Okay. Right, so those are the 5 basic things. Okay, understand the specifications clearly, know where you would do the research, pay attention to the details, know the format and how you're going to submit the output or the finished product, and submit it within the deadline. So all these will require you to have, you know, research skills. You have to be online to do it, so you don't need voice to do this, but you certainly have to have good comprehension. You ask if something is not clear, and then be attentive to detail. Make sure that your work is accurate before you submit it to your client. So I hope that's okay, Lai, I don't mind. So I hope that was helpful. Lead generation, that's one kind of service that you can offer. It's usually needed by businesses so that they will know who to market their business to. Okay, whether they want to do cold calling or they want to send cold emails, yeah, or market research basically. So I hope that was helpful. Have a good evening. I'll see you again tomorrow at 5 o'clock. Bye.